our presiding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Grice, will provide his remarks. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you. There's a lot of people here, and that's really a testament to Jamey's family. And I want to talk very briefly because you aren't here to listen to what I have to say, but I've got a few things I'd like to point out over Jamey's career that may explain why he is the officer that you know, and why Angie and the kids are the family that you know. So I've known Jamey since the last century. We first met at the end of 1999 when he reported to 2nd Battalion, 11th Marines, which is an artillery battalion on the West Coast, Marine Corps artillery battalion. So in that time, we thought we were busy. This was before 9/11. This is before the longest wars in our nation's history. And we thought we were busy, we thought we were important, we thought we were doing all kinds of cool stuff. And the coolest stuff you could do in the Marine Corps was go to something called CAX, which is Combined Arms Exercise. You go to 29 Palms, which is out in the middle of the desert, which turned out to be useful for the following years. And you would just rot in the heat or freeze in the cold, and you'd go out there for a couple months. So we as a battalion would go out for about 2 months. And as our artillery battalion, we would support 2 maneuver regiments as they went through the CAX. Now the reason I say this is because, go back in time to the last century, Jamey looked exactly the same, except he was wearing good bars. That was never aged. So he shows up, we get the chance to meet Angie well before the arrival of the kids. And they check in, not sure what to do. So immediately we go to the field, and we start torturing Jamey. And a second story I'll tell in a second about Angie in a dinner party at my house while we were in the field. So we're on the field. The first thing we do with Jamey is he's a second lieutenant. I'm a captain, I'm an artilleryman, but I'm the logistics officer. So Jamey's the maintenance management officer, and we have what's called a fire direction center, which is where all the stuff's going on in the FDC for the artillery battalion. It's all radios going off, people yelling at each other, and we need a part for a truck. So myself and Mike Fraser, who is the executive officer, sends his regards, like Kim do. Like, hey, he's got to get on the radio. Jamey's got to get on the radio. He's got to call our higher headquarters to get this part. We're like, this is going to be awesome. So we said, then folks, go in there, find a radio, call higher headquarters. Aye, sir. Away he goes. 45 seconds later, he comes back out and says, we're not getting that part.
Actually, because we're coming here and closing out. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Lifelong friend. I've known him since, that's all, 4th grade. 4th grade. 4th grade. Probably should know that. So, the Marine Detachment, sir, thanks for letting all the Marines be available for today. And Dave for filling in kind of last minute there. Staff sergeant and the others. Thanks for putting this together. I greatly appreciate it. Pete Mahoney, where's Pete at? Man behind the scenes. Okay? Thank you so much for everything you've done. You went above and beyond helping me put this together. So thanks, Pete. I greatly appreciate it. Along with Tay, she was just up here. She had her 22nd birthday today, by the way. She was going to take today off, and she came in and helped me out with this. So I appreciate it today. And Mark, one of my good lifelong friends now. Appreciate all the discussions, and look forward to your future ideas out there with the new house and the farm. So I appreciate it. Let's see here. Logan Hans couldn't be here. My godson, Jason and Andy here in the back, right there. Jason works here now. They just moved here from Virginia. You saw the national anthem played earlier. That was him. So again, another personal touch I wanted to put on. He's a quite the musician. Just finished school, studied music, and he couldn't be here, but you'll see another piece in a moment. So again, send my thanks to him, please, and I can't wait to see him again. Thank you, Jason. Chaplain Holly Short, when we were Sylvie 15, she was our command chaplain. So she couldn't be here either, but her little invocation there, she sent it to me. So I'll send her a thanks after this. But again, I like that she was able to record a message, make it very, very personal, and get it out there too. The strategy team, everyone, including campaign plans, are kind of scattered throughout. It's been a great 2 years, and I appreciate all the advice, the mentoring along the way, friendships that'll last, and everything else. And so I appreciate it, and looking forward to the future accomplishments you all have here at the Transcom. So we may have any friends that came from Missouri, Steve, Wisconsin, Paul Skills, California, I'm going to miss one here probably. Nebraska, Florida, North Carolina. Let's see here, Missouri. Might have said Missouri already. But the distance winner, drum roll, Hawaii. Luke, my old XO. Basically came here on a red eye the other night. Leaving early tomorrow, all right? So jet lag, my old battalion XO. So Texas, that was the one. Okay, so again, for my extended family, my former CLB-15 family, I greatly appreciate coming from Sacramento, new Arizona. I did mention Arizona, Paulie. Not used to that new move yet. Luke, James, and Jeremy, thanks for coming here. I appreciate it. And along with Southern California, Sydney McCabe, I appreciate you coming out and making that long journey here for today. Let's see here. Getting there, I promise. Colonel Seaman and Colonel Doan. So Colonel Seaman was just up for Colonel Doan. We got sir. Oh, right there. Can you raise your hand, sir? Everyone wants to see you. Stand up, sir. No, stand up, please. I told him it was going to be a short joke. So, Colonel Seaman was my first boss here at Transcom when I got here this past time. And Colonel Seaman took over as my boss last summer when Colonel Doan moved to another spot here on base. Gentlemen, just thank you for the time over the past 2 years of leadership. First time I ever worked for Air Force officers, it was a phenomenal experience. It really, really was. And I appreciate a lot of time when you would walk by my desk and see my chair, and you saw my camouflage blouse laying on the chair. And at that time, you probably knew I was either one at a sporting event or hunting. So I appreciate the leadership and the encouragement throughout the past years. Gentlemen. Thank you very much. So back in, let's see here, my math, 1995-ish, I came back for my second session of OCS, not because I had to repeat it, but because that's just the way it was structured. Came back and I met a very, very young lady that I'd known for a long, long time, Angie. I think I show up to her house and going to meet what would be then my future in-laws, Dave and Sharp. So again, thank you for all the trips out to see us, adopting me into the family, making me one of your own. Charlene stayed in for when my mom passed away back in 2006. And Dave, I'll never forget that Tiger cruise we had on the USS Duluth back in, that was 2005 also. Yeah. And those rough Pacific seas. So thank you for being here today. And
Maybe sleep on the top row?
that's right, I did. So, Charlene, thank you very much. Appreciate that. You might be a little crushed. You fell over in the truck and way here. So. A good friend of mine that couldn't make it had a really, this is in no particular order, by the way. A good friend of mine that couldn't make it here, he retires as Lieutenant Colonel in the Marine Corps, Evan Davies. Bad struggle with cancer, survived it. Just a great mentor of mine. He was my boss for that 12-month deployment to Afghanistan. So I'll send him a thank you note after this. But yeah, I really miss that guy too. Let's see here. The Marine Corps. The Marine Corps is not a person you can really think. It's an organization made up of people. But for the Marine Corps at large, I'd like to say a couple things that I'm really, really grateful for. 19 countries been able to visit, some better, some worse. A really unique and lucky opportunity to go to jump school back in 2005. Officer Ferguson, a good friend of mine, made sure I got there and paid for it. Where is he? Oh, right there he is. Thanks for funding that. Known him for a long time too. I got the chance to go to Mountain Warfare Training Center. I think when I was a second lieutenant, then Mike Frazier, everybody wanted to go to jump school, everybody wanted to go to Bridgeport, do the packages. So never got to do it as a young guy, just the opportunities didn't get there, but as a battalion we got to go there, and I really, really have a great time there. So that was an awesome experience, really was a bucket list events I just wanted to do at some point, whether it was a unit or individually, so that was really cool. Let's see here, what else? 4 Midwest assignments, so Omaha, Union Pacific, Fort Leonard, Missouri, and 2 year transcoms, repeat offender. Let's see here. Maybe I'm most thankful for no Pentagon assignments. Maybe that's what I'm most thankful for. Never been assigned to Pentagon. Back in before I came on my first duty station here in 2013, the Marine Corps nominated me to go be the vice president for then, part of the military aid for the vice president then. So I didn't get that job, so I ended up here. But again, just a great piece that I think back, it's like, wow, at least I was in contention from all the Marine majors that were eligible back in that time frame. I thought that was pretty cool. So, let's see, who am I missing here? Dad, am I missing anybody? Maybe Dad. Maybe I missed my pop. So, 79 years old, okay? 79 years old. Still rising in the morning with the, still up in the morning with the rising sun. Did I get that right? Up in the morning with the rising sun. It's a little bitty. And still getting more done by noon than probably most people do, you know, their entire day. So I still got a lot to teach you, you know. Like Mike said, I'm always listening. Like Jason said, I'm always listening. So no matter what you tell me to do, might be my bad ear, but I'm always listening.
Never hear it though.
Never hear it. But thanks for all that park rangering out there in the farms where we were gone, coming to see us a lot. And again, you still got a lot more park rangering in there to do back there. Let's see. Okay. As a kid growing up, again, grew up down the road, 30 minutes down the road, grew up farming. So dad had a small farm, did some farming on the side. And two of the first people that I really ever remember, this is family aside, that I really remember ever looking up to was Glenn Sternberg and Francis Montroy. Francis was a former Marine. Again, I worked for them on a dairy farm. It's a Ryan's, Francis was Ryan's dad, and Glenn was his grandpa. And it's really, really a shame that they passed too soon. And I really wish that me and Liam, their son and daughter, had the opportunity to know them. Next time, Dad, those were priceless. Jason mentioned it, but the amount of miles we put on the vehicle at CLB-15, you coming down with the girls when we were you know, there or out in the field or deployed, just supporting that battalion at the time. You really made that time just an extension of the family. So, a lot of miles. A lot of trips to McDonald's for the girls. And we got the little get together later, and you just been working your tail off on that. And yeah, you got to think about, you know, every time we move and how many ever that's been. As soon as you find out where you're going, watching the Marine Corps is typically, you know, 3 to 5 months out. If you're lucky, 5 months. So if we were moving this summer, maybe you find out like February, March. And then all of a sudden, you know, Zillow blows up. Because now you're just like, where do we live? Where do you live? Where do you live? And all those times researching, you know, the houses, the neighborhoods, the schools. I'm glad it's over. All that pain and stress we went through, that was tough. And you endured most of that. Don't forget all the help with the speeches, too. Now, even the other night, we laid there from like 10 to 11 at night saying, Dave, I am really coming up here. And I did have a few ideas here, but again, you're always there to help quiz me on tests I had when I was in school and help me with speeches and, you know, just give me a lot of advice along the way, a problem at work, you know, or something personal I was dealing with. You're always there to tell me, kind of give me that piece of sanity sometimes. You know, sometimes those words were harsh. They were needed at the time, and you always kept me on track. And I really, really look forward to our life together. And maybe the most important thing I'm grateful for is every time I got home, there's always fresh tea in the refrigerator. I know that sounds like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he said that here. But, right, Jay?
Right.
That's important when you come home. So, thanks for all that, babe, those gallons and gallons. And, you know, military marriage is tough. You know, a relationship in the Marine Corps, in the military service, it is tough. And a lot of those don't survive. Thanks for sticking with me for all those years. You have one of those in here. I think it's one more than Kylie. Every duty station that we've been together, married together. Back in 2006, I was at Expeditionary Warfare School out in Virginia, where Kylie was born. And it came time that spring to kind of tell our monitor where we wanted to go. Like, hey, here's the options that are available. This is where I want to go. So I gave him my 5, and he came back and said, I need one more. Portland Wood, Missouri. It's like the next day I got orders in Portland Wood, Missouri. And what I want to say is, God works in mysterious ways. When I got there, I checked in on June 7th. My mom passed away July 4th, 2006. So just a little under a month, or right at a month when we got there. So I missed a lot of time her joining the Marine Corps, and that's a very, very big sacrifice that occurs. She passed away on July 4th. On June 30th, just 4 or 5 days prior to that, she retired from the federal government, 20 years in, combined Marine Corps and the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And all she wanted to do was say she retired. She retired, and she saved up every dime she had for two things: retirement and her grandchildren. Kylie was the only one that really, I guess, Mom ever held. As a little 3 to 4 month old, born at that age. Unfortunately, she never got to see the twins when they were born. But for those who are interested, there's a photo of my mother here, okay, back in uniform in the early 60s. And what I don't want to do is I don't want to be the person that saves everything for, because it may be retired from the Marine Corps, but it's just a transition to another role in life, to another job. And I don't want to be the person, and I don't want to be the family that sits here and saves and just hoping for that day when you can do it, when you never know what the next day is. And I don't want to do that. So I'm going to live every day, like it could be our last. Angie, a few years ago, I remember asking you to do this, and City McCabe will remember this too. We did this little drill in the office where we all, did our little bucket list of things you want to do in life. So I still have that. And I really think it's time that we get serious about going to that place. So, may God bless everyone here. May God continue to bless the United States Marine Corps. And may God bless the men and women that are still moving forces overseas in the hostile areas here from U.S. Transportation. Thank you. But everyone's looking at the narrator more often than the person that's at the event. So thank you for being voluntold for this.
Everybody, please continue standing for the playing of the Marine Corps hymn. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. Please join us for receiving line to congratulate the Stokers. Thank you for attending and have a pleasant day.
system in the back.
There were two people I still. Thanks for being here representing me today. I appreciate it. So deployments. I'm there. I'm getting there. I promise. Deployments. So what is that exactly? You know, you pack up everything you need in a couple duffel bags. You pick up and leave everything you know, wherever you're at, your family and everything, and you go away for how many ever amount of days. For me, that was 11 months. I was at 12 and a half months. That was 7 months and 6 months. And then you come back at the end of that time to the day after the day you left. That's what you remember. That's what you remember. Everyone else keeps growing. They keep going through life. They keep changing the house. But that's what you remember, right? You came back, it's like, where was that picture? Well, I moved it. New chair. Well, I moved it where you're gone. So it's a big, big sacrifice. And two of my biggest fears while I was deployed, because you know it's not like you deploy close. It's not like it's easy to get home. If you're on a ship, you know, you're out in the middle of the Pacific. I mean, you're waiting weeks to get anywhere where you could catch a flight home for anything tragic that could happen. So during my time away deployed, I would say that I only missed really one tragic event. And I'm extremely grateful for that. I really think it's a higher power that looked down on me for that. And that was when my best friend Jesse Schilling got killed back in 2002. Couldn't make it home for that, but I still see him as my best friend. And again, I know that's a sour moment, but I'm extremely thankful that's the only thing I ever missed. So, together you girls, Angie and the girls, and Aussie, you know, you guys, that's the hashtag you guys need to follow. You guys have all seen me at my best. You guys have all seen me at my worst. You have. You know, that's how families are. And we've endured a lot of PCS miles. PCS is like when you move from duty station to duty station. You've got a lot of miles together, right? And as we age here in the next couple of years, as we age here in the next year, the occupants of those vehicles, of that vehicle, is going to get fewer and fewer. So Kylie, you got about a year left. That's okay, babe. You want to get up here with me? No? Okay. You got about a year left with us. And I still got a lot of training to do for that big, mean world out there for you. And you know, get to see one more year of volleyball. You know, maybe more after that, maybe not. But you know, Drew, I need a little more time with her. Drew's your boyfriend there. I need a little more time with her. Okay, I got a lot to do here left in the last year with her. So. We were really lucky you landed to do 2 high schools, you know, and I don't regret that decision at all. You know, I'm glad you're able to come here and start your Freeburg high school year as a sophomore and really just kill it at volleyball, and you're going to do that this senior year too. So maybe one day when I pick you up from college, you'll come running to me, knock me over. Okay, make my my thumb bleed, like that time I got back from Afghanistan. So, Mackenzie, Michaela, if I was to tell you that I knew what it was like to be twins, I would be wrong. I'm not a twin. I don't know what it's like to be one. I just know what it's like to father you two. Okay, so you have to come here, start your 8th grade year, in the junior high school. And you get to experience your entire high school going into your sophomore year this year, having that same friend group. I couldn't imagine the pain and challenge it would be if we had to move this year with the friends that you have, some of which are here today. I couldn't imagine putting you girls through that. So Mackenzie, they say that you're my favorite, and that's not true, okay? That's not true, okay? But, seeing you first started out, I think he's a dancer first, you know, really, you know, graceful dancer. You're competitive cheerleading, and now just, you know, killing it in that back row on defense in the volleyball team. It's been phenomenal to see you grow up and become that young lady. And when you think about, Marine Corps gave you 9 years near the ocean. And I know that your dream one day is to return to the ocean, and I hope that you realize that dream no matter where that ocean is. Okay? And Michaela, I like how you threw that in that NT there. That was really, really good. I appreciate that. So, Mackenzie, don't ever forget it's easy and damn, right? Okay. So, Michaela, you're straightforward running the house. I mean, if there's anyone that tells it like it is, it's you. You are the straightforward one that tells us, you know, how things are and how you feel all the time. And, you know, your mom and I, we love watching you dominate that soccer field. Being on that varsity team last year as a freshman, helping your team get all the way to super sectionals and nearly tying it in that game was just a phenomenal experience. And as you grew up, you know, I try to teach you a lot. You know, teach you how to use a spoon, right? And every day you guys teach me something new on Snapchat or Be Real, which you can do if it comes off in here. It's okay. But you teach me more than what you probably think you do. And I'm really grateful for that. And teaching you guys how to drive right now is really like one of my highlights right now because I'm looking forward to it, and I get to relax a little bit. Probably shouldn't, but just remember that 2000, it don't matter the year. One day you walked in the house, and when we lived in San Clemente, you had your rollerblades on, and you walked in crying, holding your wrist that looked like an ocean blade. And I remember grabbing you, you know, sitting you down, trying to calm you down. So just remember that anytime you fall down going forward, I'll be there to pick you up. Okay? All right. So just a small gift for you girls here. There's 10 roses in here. Okay? Do you know what 10 represents, Becca? It's good. Yes. Actually, there's 1 rose for every duty station that you've been in the Marine Corps. Okay. And then for Mackenzie and Kayla, how many are here? Do you know? 9. 1 rose for every duty station that you ladies have been in. All right. So girls, last thing I'll say to you is on Wednesday, call me up. Let's call a couple times. And like that, let's go to lunch. Oh man, I heard one with the gym, but yeah, okay, let's go. So, thanks for that last lunch you gave. I appreciate it. All right, I think that about wraps it up. Now, Angie. Let's see here. Oh, well, for all the bruises that this week has endured, all the bit off nails, all the friendly discussions we've had back and forth about, you know, trying to get this here and try to get it right on base, you know, you've really done a lot. Some of the stuff has been mentioned, but those, one of the girls mentioned the collection of videos that you had sent me in Afghanistan that we still have and look back on. I just remember trying to record those on the computer, and you'd be like trying to hit record, and the girls would be like, you know, my turn, Mom, my turn, my turn. And then you just have that look on your face and close down. Anything else?
Might as well stay standing.
Oh.
At last, we come to the part we've all been waiting for. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce, for the very first time, Lieutenant Colonel Jamey Stover, United States Marine Corps, retired.
So, Jason, I need to borrow your reader real quick. You know, Aaron Stanley, you were right the other day. You were right the other day. So, for the past 2 weeks or more, I've really struggled with what to say today. I really have. And I got some really good advice from Aaron. It's like, it's going to be so emotional up there. You have so much going on. He says, you don't want to take a chance of forgetting what to say. So I think for the first time in my career, I took that advice and I wrote down a few notes. So one of the best pieces of advice I got, though, was speak from your heart. Just come from your heart. So I may refer to this, I may not. So back in 2018, I was coming off the deployment with CLB-15 and was selected for a Secretary of Defense Fellowship. So I went to Omaha, spent a year with the Union Pacific Railroad, and there were 3 individuals who really made that a phenomenal experience. Jerry Garcia, who couldn't be here. Mike Coleman. Mike, would you mind just stepping forward so we can see you? His wife Courtney, they made it up from Tampa, so thank you very much. And former Marine John Gorman over there. Come on, they want to see you too, John. Don't hide in the background. So really stayed in touch with me through the years. So prior to doing that assignment and meeting those fine gentlemen, I had to go to Washington, D.C. for about a month or so and go through this business-oriented training program. So one morning before the program, I was out going for a run, hot, humid D.C. day. For some reason, a random thought just occurred in my brain, and I started adding up the amount of days I've been deployed and gone and away from the family. At the time, I was like summer of 18, that number came out to like 42 months. And I never really did that math before. So 42 months, like 3+ years. And I got to thinking, I was like, wow, I think at the time you guys might have been, the twins might have been 9, or Kylie might have been 9. I was thinking, wow, like a third of their life I've been gone. I was like, man, that really had an impact. So, went to a phenomenal experience there with the Union Pacific. And went back to a very, very challenging move back to Camp Pendleton right after that. Very, very challenging move. So with those thoughts there and kind of projecting the future and thinking about what I was going to do in the future and where the Marine Corps was going to take me, I got to thinking, I was like, well, my oldest daughter Kylie, she's going in the 8th grade. If this happens and that happens and that happens, she's probably going to go through at least 3 high schools. So I think it was December of 2018, if I remember correctly. Me and Mackenzie were standing at the computer. I was like, Mackenzie, do you want me to get out of the Marine Corps? I was like, push that button right there and send that document to Headquarters Marine Corps. She hit send. And that letter was my request to Headquarters Marine Corps to not be considered for promotion to colonel, knowing that I was sealing my fate and that I was going to retire. So that was granted out there. And submitted my retirement. Had a great job out there as Inspector General, and one of those Marines that were out there with me, Cindy McCabe, made it all the way from California. And she knew I was planning my retirement the entire time. She was going to help me out with the program and everything. It was all set. And one day, Sergeant McCabe then walks in. She's like, hey, sir, there's Lieutenant Colonel Ingram on the phone. I was like, oh no. So Lieutenant Colonel Ingram was our monitor at the time, detailed, that person moved us all around. And a previous conversation, he was trying to keep me in. And I said, the only thing that's going to keep me in the Marine Corps at this point in time is to go back to TransCom, where I would retire there. At the time, he said, that's not going to happen, probably. She walks on the phone several months later, said, he's on the phone. Okay, Andre, what's going on? He's like, you got a spot at TransCom, do you want it? And I got to thinking, I was like, oh. And everyone I talked to was like, that's a gift. You got to take it. We're closing on a house. Go back there. You got to do it. I was the only one not convinced at the time. Hindsight being 2020, it was the best decision I selfishly made at the time. Was to take those orders, come back here, where I can have a ceremony here and transition my last 2 years here. Earlier this year in January, Chief Officer 4 retired Jamey asked me to come out and officiate his retirement ceremony Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. So went out there and ran into an old buddy of mine who helped me officiate the ceremony, Sergeant Major Ryan Necco, who couldn't be here today. And I think it was during your ceremony, Jeremy, he had told me, he says, you get these retirement ceremonies and re-enlistments and things like that. He said, there's never enough people that get to speak. He said, a sergeant major or a senior enlisted, should be able to get up there and speak. You never hear any families speak. So I know today's been long. I know there's been a lot of speakers, and I can't tell you how long this is going to be. I'd say I'm the last one. But I want to really make this personal. I really did. So everyone that made this a really, really personal event for me, thank you very much for that. There's so many people to thank, so many people to, to mention that, got me here today. So Dr. Sear and Admiral Trinxer, gentlemen, thank you for coming here today. And sure, I don't know if this got you out of that irregular warfare ESC or not, but you're welcome. Sir, thank you for, I know this may or may not have been in your calendar, but thanks for coming out and supporting us here. Lieutenant Colonel Mike Grice, again, everything I said, you already said. So I'm going to go back to Second Lieutenant Stover, checking in 1999, 2nd Battalion 11th Marines. I will correct one part of the story, though. So that part he had me go to get was for his vehicle. So, thank you so much. That was all true. Everything he said, I mean, that was a fact. So, except for maybe me. Thank you for taking the time to come out here. I know it's a big investment financially for everyone that came out. When I made the call a few months ago, I guess it was, he's probably thought, why is Jamey Stover calling me? He text, we see each other on Facebook. Why is he calling me? So, sir, Mike, thank you for coming out here and really just, if I say, I'm the person I am today in all aspects, it's because you were the first one that I ever met in the Marine Corps. One of the first people I ever met in the Fleet Marine Force out of schools. My first boss, and you really set the tone for me throughout my entire career. So thank you for staying in contact with me and just being that mentor still. And phenomenal speaker, is he not? Yeah. Thanks, Mike. I agree. Jason, Master Gunny Frick, thanks for coming out too. I appreciate you assisting up here and being part of the ceremony and speaking like I'd asked if you do. So I greatly appreciate your time coming out and doing that for me. And another person, I talked about Mike here as being one of the first people I saw in uniform. Another person, it was on the slideshow earlier, Casey Jones, right there in the back in the blue, center right there. He was in the Navy back in 1998, and I don't know if you're on the slideshow, there was a younger looking version of me there, similar uniform, saluting a sailor. So Casey Jones there, during that time, came to my commissioning ceremony and was my first salute part of that ceremony. Now he's here today, and I appreciate it, kind of closing me out too. So you're also one of the first people that came here, or got to
or even just spending time together watching our favorite movies like Rambo: First Blood and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is where he gave me the nickname It. When you often take me to the soccer field or basketball courts to help me become a better athlete. Or even when our friends or boyfriends try radishes out of your garden, even though sometimes they may say they like it when they really don't. Right, Drew? Lastly, you always knew how to put a smile on my face when I'm having a rough day. Congratulations, Dad. I'll forever be grateful for all your support you have given me. I hope your retirement is filled with lots of plane trips, even though they cost a lot of dough. Thank you so much.
Mackenzie, you're up. You've seen what the competition is.
One of my favorite memories of my dad before deploying was when he gave us all 3 daddy dolls. He told us that even if he was gone, he'd always be with us. Every night for those 12 months, I would talk to my doll just like I talked to my dad and hug it right before I went to bed. My dad has been in the Marine Corps my whole life, so he moved a lot. Many people might not agree with me, but I honestly enjoyed it. I got to see him live in many different places. Not many people get the chance to do that. No matter what my dad had going on at work, he always made time for us. He was the one who taught us how to fish, hunt, ride a bike, and many other things. We started making handshakes when we were really little, and we always added to it over the years. Everything in our handshake is about something that happened in our lives. We all know that just because he was retiring, his dad jokes never will. time he heard that there was a daddy dog advance, he always asked us to go. The first deployment I experienced was when I was 3. We went on a year-long deployment in 2011. My mom always took videos of us to show him what we were up to and how me and Kayla were learning new words. He would always send videos back to us when he would get the chance. When we went on deployment for 7 months in 2017, he sent us each a postcard with a letter on the back of him saying what he has seen and done. I always wrote a letter back and on the next postcard we would answer all of my questions. I was very lucky to get the best and most loving dad in the world. I'm so proud of you. I love you.
Kayla, you ready? I couldn't have got, sorry.
Save the best for last, right? Congratulations, Dad, to this new stage in your life after 25 years. My dad has taught me many things, like how to shoot a bow or how to use a spoon. But more importantly, he has taught me how to be a leader, how to treat others, and how to overcome and grow from my challenges. He has never failed at pushing me to give my best in everything I do. He has always been there for me, even if he couldn't be there physically. When I was 5, my dad quit for 12 months. He still wanted to find a way to be there for us at such a young age. So before he left, he gave us a flat dad. He put it at the dinner table so we could always have family dinner together. I even brought it to my preschool concert and left it right next to my mom so that they could all be there supporting me even though he couldn't be there. I remember that the day that he went to the bus that he was getting dropped off at. I missed him so much, I ran as hard as I could, and I was so strong that my 5-year-old body knocked him right over. My favorite memories with my dad at that age were eating orange slices while watching the Bee Movie, and him sneaking in snacks before I went to bed. Many people would say that moving around is difficult. I see it as a gift. Living in 5 different states and going to 10 different schools allowed me to meet many people. Whether it's stealing candy out of Steve's office desk, the excitement of getting to see everyone at Seal 15, or moving back to where our family lives. Although moving around was challenging, it truly was a blessing in disguise. I'm so proud of you, Dad, for everything you've accomplished. Thank you for your service, but more importantly, thank you for always putting your family first and never failing to be there for me. We love you.
Thank you, ladies. Before we yield the floor to our retiree, we have a few gifts to presentations. First, Colonel Sean Walsh, officer in charge of the U.S. Transportation Command Marine Corps Element, will present Lieutenant Carl Stover with a memento on the occasion of his retirement.
Okay, thanks for well, plaque, and also too, it's good to see us and you on there. Thank you for everything you've done for the Marine Corps. Also. Thank you.
Next, Colonel Chris Seaman will present a gift on behalf of the Strategy Division.
All right, so Jamey, you know that we don't really have a, come on up here.
Oh, okay. I'm sure if that's your serious side or not.
Any other side. So we don't have, at the division level, usually a going away kind of thing, a standard one, but we'd be remiss if we didn't join in the celebration of your career and definitely show some appreciation for the 2 years at the division level that you had impact. So obviously, you crushed it as a branch chief, but as a deputy division chief, definitely got your eyes open to the complexity of what the division has in our portfolio. So when I got here last summer, began unpacking it, just like getting water boarded with everything that we do, you were absolutely somebody that I consistently went to say, Jamey, can you explain this? You gave me the context, you gave me the background, and more importantly for me, like the recommendation of the way forward. Can't say thank you enough for that. So Pete actually had a great idea as a way to show appreciation at the division level. He said, how about a shadow box? I said, okay. So while Pete shepherded the task of getting the shadow box here, and then across the division by members current and former, putting it together to help pay for it, I get the honor of saying, Jamey, for your career, thank you for your service. Yeah, thanks for the 2 years, and best wishes going forward. Barry? And while there is a flag, and I know you have a flag that you can put up there, it does open, crowns can fit right in. If you need your choice, just throw it out there. Comical joke. Gosh, I'm gonna miss this guy.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir. Finally, Ms. Shantae Howie will present a gift on behalf of the campaign finance branch.
Oh my gosh.
Not what you thought it was, is
Mark, hold on. Can I get out there?
He thought that I was gonna give him this round medal thing that I give to everyone.
I didn't think you were gonna do anything.
But we got together and we decided that after 25 years of service, you deserve something from us for all your hard work and dedication. And this just goes to show how much of an impact you made on us. So, thank you, and we do appreciate you, and I'm gonna miss the dad jokes too, so.
I want to appreciate the trust and confidence that you had in me alone as a mascot. Never really had that before, especially when you gave me your signature and said that I had the time on the last ISC period. We did buy a lot of stuff that you don't know about. That showed me a lot, and then the conversations that you would often bring me in on, sir, to see where my mind was at. So thank you for that, sir. Once again, and I've said this 2 times before, but thank you for letting me and allowing me to be here for this occasion. And take care, and I'm glad I have your friendship. I saw this at the store, just to kind of throw you off your speech a little bit. It's a tactical cane. You can fold up, you can camouflage it with some stuff on it,
Thank you, Mr. Gaines. Now, Mr. Jay Kiefer will now offer his remarks as well.
Good afternoon, everyone. If anybody knows Jamey, I thought this was a big joke. I thought I wasn't going to speak here today. And I'm going to be honest, I'm going to level with you now. I really didn't think it was a big deal. About 2 months ago, he said, "Hey, would you speak on my behalf of my retirement?" I said, Sure, I sure will. And he was joking. And I promised my wife today that I would not embarrass her, so I'm going to try to stay on point and keep us clean. So, I'd like to start by thanking all our military men and women in here, past and present, for your service. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to my family. I'd also like to recognize Jamey's wife, Angie, his daughters, Michaela, Mackenzie, and Kylie, for all your support, sacrifice on this journey. I know it is an exciting day for you, and I know he could have never done this without you. Ever. And I know he's very grateful for all your help getting to this point today. So, well, you don't know me. I'm Jay Kiefer, and I have over 30 years of friendship with this guy. met in high school. All the rural towns came to where I live, and we all met, got together. And we're in high school together. I met this guy. And, you know, right away, everybody said, he's going in the Marine Corps. That's all they talked about. Marine Corps, Marine Corps. And here we are. And he truly wanted to follow the legacy of his family. His mother, his father, his brother were all in the Marine Corps. And he was very eager to follow that legacy and be a Marine. I got to spend time with Jamey over his 25 years in the Marine Corps, either visiting him where he was stationed, phone calls, texts. Except for California, never been to California. I'll never live that down. I made it everywhere else. But I shared his journey, and those of you who don't know, I was very close with his mom and dad. They were like parents to me. And as he was away at schools or training operations or deployment, I would go over, and they were always so eager to tell me about his newest accomplishment. They were so proud of him. And if his mom was here today, I could see her out here right now with that big smile on her face. And she would be so proud to see this day finally come. So, like I said, I'm going to keep this clean. I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to stay on point. I haven't embarrassed you yet, have I? So recently, last year, well, let me get back to this. Jamey's parents were, I've never seen parents so proud of their son and his accomplishment in my life. They were always so happy. They were always so eager to tell people about his accomplishments and through the ranks of the Marine Corps. But now Jamey, on the other hand, he was very humble about his career in the Marine Corps. And I never knew why. Until last year we were in Nebraska and we were on a turkey hunting trip. And we got done turkey hunting that first day. And we're sitting around a lodge and everybody's kind of introduced themselves, you know, and we're like, yeah, I'm a doctor and I'm this. And one guy asked Jamey, what do you do for a living? He says, well, I'm in the military. The guy thanked him for his service. Conversation ended. So 3 or 4 days later, we're driving home, 4 in the morning, trying to make conversation, keep each other awake. And I said, why are you always so modest about your career in the Marine Corps? He says, oh, it's not really a big deal. I don't like to brag about it. Well, today, Lieutenant Colonel James Stover, 25 years of distinguished service to this country. You're kind of a big deal to us. I want to thank you for your service to this country. We're also proud of all your accomplishments. You're a true friend. You're like a brother to me. And I think the Marine Corps is retiring a true leader today, losing a great Marine. We thank you again for your service. Thank you for everything you've done for me and my family. And congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Keeper. Last but certainly not least, Lieutenant Colonel Stover's daughters will offer their remarks. Up first is Kayla. Now, I have heard that there's a special award who gives the best speech. Mine with the car? I don't know. Let's see what kind of car.
No pressure.
few things that you have done that I will never forget. Like when you ask our friends if they have Instagram, so they can go follow our dog's account. I don't say it, so I'll say it. But if you want to go check it out, it's Minnie_Aussie.
So I thank you for your service. I can't thank you enough for the opportunity to come and tell everyone embarrassing stories about yourself. Very proud of you and proud of your family. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, Master Gunnery Sergeant Jason Frick will offer his remarks.
Now I need to transfer
Next, back up.
So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Master Gunnery Sergeant Frick. I'm not going to do the standard thank all the senior officers, commanders, listed guys here. I'm just going to keep it about Colonel Silver and his family. First officer, I'm shaking. First off, I just want to say how honored I am to be here. I'm overwhelmed with honor that you even thought to ask me to come and be a part of such a special occasion for you and your family. First and foremost, I want to give a huge thanks to you, sir, and Burpee for raising such a fine person. I don't know if you beat him a lot or you. All I know is that whatever you did, it produced a person that I admire and I look up to, even as an older person. I admire you, sir. Thanks for me, secondly, I want to extend my thanks and appreciation to your wife, Angie, and the three girls, Kaylee, Mackenzie, Kylie. I said that wrong. Because it's families like you guys are what enable us to go out and do what we're supposed to do. And you're holding down the fort and doing all the special occasions without us there, and somehow capturing that so we can get a taste of that. I know firsthand that that's super hard. I lost 3 kids to the institution because they drank so much Kool-Aid, but thank you for that. To the girls, it's very hard to not have your dad present for everything. I know, and I've seen that, but I will say that you've got the Lieutenant Colonel maybe back now, put into good use. Sir, it still stands. I'm still active, so I know Captain Holmes pretty well. We're very I know that you guys are proud of your dad. I will say that he is absolutely proud of you, girls. I don't think that there's, every time that we talk, there was one time that family was not brought into the discussion. So, and I know as a dad, you guys are always there in his heart every single day. I also want to say thank you to the family again for everything that you did for Sylvie 15. My wife still is grateful to everything that you guys did. And it's just once again another illustration of what this Silver plan does for not just family but for everybody. So thank you for that. Now the first time I met Lieutenant Colonel Stover, so this goofy Chief Warrant Officer gave me a phone call and asked me if I wanted to come over to the view, and I was like, absolutely, because it's not very often that they do, but you have to be in the right spot. So I ended up getting orders and I came over, and Chief Warrant Officer Horg, I won't mention any names, made me go go to my first battalion Cub meeting. And, you know, we do the stand up when the CO comes in the room, and that means everybody sits down. But every time the lieutenant colonel would come in, he would have something to ask every single staff member. And the first time I came in there, I think it was, what was our walk-on song, if we had one. And I was like, this is crazy. I don't know what I've got myself into. But I watched and I paid attention, and he actually genuinely cared about everybody's response. And I don't know if he was writing stuff down or probably recording us or something, but he would come back to that specific event and he would say, yeah, your walk-on song was this, or your favorite Disney character was this. If you were a Disney character, who would you be? Yeah, remember that captain in the TSLS? Kind of stuff. But that was my first time, and every meeting after that, it was the same thing. It was just something different that he would ask the entire staff, and it didn't matter if it was a sergeant or a staff sergeant or a mass sergeant or a chief one. He would actually listen. So I've kind of carried that, and I've talked to a few commanders and been asked what they could do to make their command team stronger. And that's the one thing I tell them, that and to give a call and try to emulate everything that you've done. With that said, now we're on to you. So that's my one story of Lieutenant Colonel Silver. I've got a lot. This was 8 pages long, just so everybody's tracking. But I'm reading and I'm trying to keep it short so I don't embarrass you too much. Now to you, sir. Once again, I'm truly honored. I don't know why, but I'm honored that you asked me to come here today and to share this moment with you, and especially be up here and talk in front of all these people. It's just a testament that just all of these people came to this town in Illinois just for you. Imagine if it was on, like Quantico or Camp Pendleton, that it would be a pretty full retirement, because I know that you've touched a lot of people. I am grateful, truly grateful that I have had the chance to meet you and serve alongside you. You are a true leader in every essence of the word. I mean, across the board, every time that I'm asked about, who's impacted my life, your name is definitely always the very first one that comes up. So, thank you. You not only mentored the officers, but you did the enlisted as well. Your presence and demeanor, I don't think, can be matched. There's two people that I admire the most, and they're both in this room. And just the way that you carry yourself and the way that you talk, it's absolutely awesome. I know for a fact that everybody in the battalion enjoyed working with you. Notice I said with you, not for you. That's one thing that Lieutenant Colonel brought to the unit. It's not, I'm the guy in charge. You're a collectively team, and we are going to make stuff happen. You treated every Marine and sailor with respect and always made it a point to listen to what they had to say, and you often just sat there and chewed the fat. So, from everybody at Sylvia 15 back in the day, I know that they would say thanks.
It was too crazy, it was too nuts. But it was all part of the litmus test of going into what he would experience for the rest of his career as a supporter, going in and getting chewed up by people who think as maneuver people and as ground combat people or whatever, that they're the pointing into the spirit. Problem is, we don't get that part. Our truck doesn't run. We don't shoot artillery. We culminate. And that was a valuable lesson. But the most important lesson he learned during that time, unfortunately, came because we worked for the worst battalion commander in the history of the Marine Corps. The worst. You can look him up. Somewhere there's a book with the worst guy. He's the top one. So while we're in the field, we used to call him Subway 6. Because we would be in the final exercise of CAX, which is a 3-day exercise, he'd leave a day and a half in, so he'd go back and take a shower, get Subway, and wait for us to come back out. No, I'm not kidding. I'm not making this up. So when you're done with the exercise, as logisticians, if anyone's ever been around an artillery organization, there's a lot of stuff. There's powder cans, there's eyeball lifting plugs, there's just all of this detritus of shooting that we have to turn into dermo. So we stop at a place called Wood Canyon, and we've got a big logistics train, and all of us get out. The executive officer, there's a major, a bunch of us captains, lieutenants, privates, staff sergeants, and we are slinging metal and wood for 3 hours and 110 degrees. Because we have to pack all this stuff up. We are the last people to get out of the field. So we pack it all up, do the righteous work, we head up Range Road, we turn to the right, we're at the top of the cantonment area, there's a bunch of tin shacks that we slept in, and all of our artillery battalion is laid out there. Trails are spread, they're punching tubes, they're cleaning the artillery pieces. You know, the motor T guys, they're spinning wrenches, fixing trucks. You know, the communicators are doing stuff with the radios. The FTC guys are throwing rocks at each other. We see that, and everyone's doing the right, it does your heart proud. That's why I joined the Marine Corps, see people do stuff. Then we look to the right, and what do we see? Our battalion commander sitting in a lawn chair, wearing, and I'm not making this up, wearing silky shorts, t-shirts, Ray-Bans, watching his battalion work. He was the worst officer I've ever seen, and the worst example that he could ever see as a young officer. At the exact same time, Angie is at a house, at my house, with my wife and my new young son over Easter for a dinner party. So the spouses get together, spouses have done since the dawn of time, get together, they're gonna break bread and commiserate or rejoice that their husbands are all in the field. So they get together, this said same battalion commander's wife shows up. We bought a house out of town. Everyone brings their kids but her daughter stays home. She comes into the house and immediately starts inspecting our house. Starts going through the closets. And young Angie is following along saying, ma'am, I don't think you're supposed to do that. So at the same time, he's receiving the worst lessons he could ever learn about being an officer in the Marine Corps. Angie is learning the best lessons she can learn from the worst example of a spouse in the Marine Corps. And that was why we worked together, why he called me up today, because we worked very hard to create a counterculture of leadership to get through what a really bad person at the top can do. And there are people here who are in that exact, Jason Hance, Jason Manny, witnesses to the same things. And the reason I bring that up is because that early crucible of incredibly poor leadership was something that you could embrace or you could disdain. And Jamey and Angie disdained it. And they rose above it. And they became the people who today have a room, standing room only, with people who got a chance to meet and greet and break bread and cry with and go to deployments with and serve with over a period of over 2 decades. Those types of leadership challenges, those types of lessons can't be taught. They're a test of character. A test of character that when you reach down and say, I can be better than this. And they both chose to do that. And that's why everyone is here today. Because if they hadn't embraced that, they would be doing this in a room with a lot of empty chairs. So I wanted to throw that out there because that's a story that 4 of us in this room know, and now there's like 100, so you can tell them again later. But from there, Jamey went off to BLT-24. You know, the war started. He got to go out to the Marine Expeditionary Units. Got to go out and do the righteous work. Spent some time in Iraq. Spent some time in Afghanistan. It's all of us done. All of us have done. Got an opportunity to go to our schooling. Went to Expeditionary Warfare School. Went to Command and Staff College. Got to come here as a younger officer, and was a repeater here because he's from here. As an Illinoisan, coming back to the motherland of his father and his mother. And for those of you who don't know, a lot of people say they come from military families. I would say that you come from a unique military family, that your father and mother were both Marines. And you should be very, very proud of the son that you've raised to be here before you today, because all of us are. So thank you. He did what every single officer in the Marine Corps wants to do, which is to be a commander, to command and lead other Marines. He did that with Combat Logistics Battalion 15. So he was able to go back out, he was able to lead Marines on the frontier of our nation, on the fringes of the empire, and represent us well. A testament to his leadership is how many people are here who he served with throughout his career who don't have to be here. They don't work in this building. They don't live in this town. But they're here because of the impact that he and Angie have had in their lives. So for me, it's a privilege to be able to come back. I'm just an old retired dude who got an invitation to come over here and help him cross over the Rubicon to come to this side of the world instead of the uniform side of the world. And to me, it's a privilege and honor to be able to be before you and to speak to you about it. The last things that I'd like to say, because again, we wanted to move on, not to be wax eloquent about things, is for Angie, thank you for his support. For Kylie, for Mackenzie, for Kayla, you've grown up only knowing him wearing that and leaving. That's all you've ever known. Now, you get to deal with the fact that he's not leaving you. So, I just throw that out there for one of the glorious, there you go. One of the things that the Marine Corps, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, Coast Guard, Space Force, I think I got everybody. You get to blame the service for sending you places. He doesn't get to blame them anymore. But as an Illinoisan coming back home and being able to kind of go full circle to end up where it started is a big deal. I remember we had a conversation years ago when Jamey was looking at you. We're all put in a position to where you either stay in or you get out when you can retire. Do I keep taking the service of our nation to the point where I do 30 or 40 or 50 years, or do I need to stop? Do I need to go home? And it's a hard thing. The Marine Corps is a harsh mistress. And the Marine Corps is codependent. And the Marine Corps wants blood out of you to the day you leave. But if you don't stop and say, you know what, I want to go home, when you have the opportunity to be able to spend those years with your family that otherwise you'd miss, that takes a lot of moral courage. And he said, nope. He has served his nation well. His family has served our nation well. And now is our opportunity for the nation to say thank you. And for everyone that he's worked with, everyone that he's met, to participate in the big day when you take that uniform off for the last time, and you put on something like this, or whatever else you want to put on, and then live the rest of your life. So I am up here for all of us. For the families that don't get a chance to come up and speak, for the friends, for the people who are here in this building, and for the millions of Americans who sleep safe at night, because people like Jamey and his family keep the